So now we did that foundation CSS. We covered a lot of CSS, and we ended up building a little bit of a Danby site, a Dandy site. Sorry, I always want to say it with a B. Now we're going to refactor it as a grid, and so basically we're going to take what we've done with colors, backgrounds, borders, margins, and padding, what we learned there, and then what we learned in the building of the original Dandy site that I did a few days ago, and we're going to convert this to grid. I've never actually converted a Flexbox to grid, and I love anybody who knows about my comments about Flexbox. I love Flexbox, so let's hope it all works out for me. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to keep all of these things, these oriented vertically like that. So let's see if we can get that going. Let's see. Okay, so this is good so far, right? And then we need, do we want to see, I'm going to show you something. I don't believe we're going to use it. Gap 5 pixel. Watch the screen on the right. See that? That space right there? Watch this. I'll make it bigger. There it is. So that's showing you the gap between the grid. Okay? So let me just see if I can open this up and give it a little bit easier. Okay, so I wanted to show you this. So when you highlight, when you select, and you go to highlight, it always picks the largest unless you're in contact, right? So this is the grid right now. Okay, and the white spaces here are the gaps. Okay, so now I've set the row, the first row. So this is basically each row that you want to have. So if I wanted to have another row, I could do that. See, now we have a row right here. Watch. See, boom, boom. I guess we gotta bring the gap back real quick just to show you. Come on, there we go. And then as soon as I delete that, now that the gap is there, and the gap is there. So 3 rows. So I'm gonna remove it again until we need it. Okay, so this is a Flexbox here. This is actually really good use case for a Flexbox, because if you go like this, you see it collapses very, very nicely, and that's what you want. That's a good one. Now let's go here, header. I don't think we need that anymore, do we? Nope, has no effect because this row has already been set to 50 pixels with the grid right here, 50 pixels. Okay, and the footer has also been set to that. Let's tweak that. Okay, now what we're looking for is, and we have this, there's really no point in us meddling with that. You would just be making it more complicated by adding in columns and so on. Could set the whole thing differently with just one other way, but I don't want to. That's not the way I want to teach it to you. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so let's delete that. I like to comment out first. It just makes it easier to be certain. Why not? Why not test? So the main menu is a flex. We got that. That's good. This one, you know what? Let's do the footer. Let's do the footer as a grid. You know what? Let's do first section. That's this one. So main section. Okay. So main is grid. Okay. So first thing we gotta do is we need to sort this one out. So we're gonna go grid template like that, and we can make it so that everything is 1FR. Now, a couple things about FR. It's called fractions, so that means everything is one fraction. See, it won't work because this. Watch. It ain't. There we go. So let's do a little quick section. This, and we go like this. So one of the things you'll notice is a lot of your Flexbox commands, that's how they work. They're the same. Where do you think Grid took it from? We usually like to have something like this up here. It can really be above or below the Grid stuff, but I'm a big fan for symmetry. Fan of symmetry. Okay, so I don't think we need this actually. Let's do that. Okay, and let's see here. Even light, sky blue. Let's go sky. No, that can't be. Light pink, sure. There we go. Neat. They stay perfectly in their third. They only take up the space required by the letters. I love that. So the next thing we want to do is we want those things to fill out their entire section. So what we want is for it to take up 100% of the width. There we go. And then like Flexbox, we want to center them. How's that looking so far? I like it. I like it a lot. I'm just trying to decide. I'm still trying to decide what do I want to do with this. Been conflicted about it since the beginning. Should we just make it a footer UL? Let's see. Footer UL. Do you want color? No. Let's see. Footer UL this time. Okay, let's see what we got here. I'm gonna have to make this. Oops. Well, that's interesting. So part of the problem is that I'm actually overriding some stuff. So I need to remove some of those. Okay, so that simplified that. So okay. Okay, I had to clean it up a little bit more just to make the learning experience a little more linear. So I removed some of the specificity here. Okay, and now they're looking like this. So what I wanted you to see is, this is an interesting part. This is this like big strategic part about CSS. Okay, so you have a grid, and there's 3 columns, and they're using this one FR. FR is fractional, so it's if there's three, it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. A fraction essentially, one fraction of this. And then if you have a grid of rows, and you say I have 3 fractions, it'll say 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. But the thing is these have not been told to go beyond their first fraction, because this is all that it's been told to fit into. And if you look at the grid, let's go with grid gap again. 5 pixels. Okay, so there will be a grid gap here, but the point I'm trying to get to is that this is 1 and 2, but I have 4. So actually what happens in grid is it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you want to span from here to here, that's 1 fraction, right? From this edge to the first edge, that's 1. And that's 2, 3, 3, 4. And if you want to go all the way to that edge there, you have to pick 4. So let's pretend for a second. Let's pick this one, so it's going to fill it, right? But let's say I want it to fill like that, or like that, or like that. Neat, eh? So I'm not really making my point as clearly as I was hoping to, but what I would like to say is you like unlike Flexbox, where you have to say you have to kind of say what you're going to use, right? Like you have to say, okay, this is a column, and I want everything to spread across this column. That's about it. That's all you can do. And you don't want this column to be made up of 3 rows if you're doing that with Flexbox, because then it'll say, well, each one of these is its own Flexbox. But it doesn't happen with grid. So grid, you can say, I want this to be divided up into 4 sections, 12 sections. Actually, you'll find a lot of websites are actually designed with that. It helps to allow people to parse out how much it should be. So now let's imagine that that's the case here. So grid row, so let's say 2 of 4. I'm going to make this smaller just because I don't think we need this HTML right now. Okay. Let's go 7. And 7. And let's see, 6. Look what happened to the third. It moved over. Isn't that cool? I mean, it can be really less than cool if you're surprised by it. Sometimes I am too. That's why I don't use Flexbox as much as, Grid as much as I use Flexbox. So these are rows. So now let's say, okay, grid column. Let's go 10 and 12 again. Look at that. This is the third one, remember? So that's this one, third section. Let's just center these a little bit, there we go. Which one did I? No. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. So now, let's see, I go like this, and I go column, and there we go. That's a bizarre layout. But the thing is what's happening virtually here is 12 columns and 12 rows. So you can span and spread content all over this strategically. It is really powerful stuff. You can set min-maxes on your stuff. So you can say, I want the column. Let me look at my references. I don't want to misspeak on this one. It's complicated. Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to mention about this. I only recently learned this myself. Let's say you don't know if you're going to change the number of rows. Like I just changed it, right? And you don't know in the future, things could change, but you do know that you want section 2 to span the entire space. Okay? So you can do, let's see, 1. There we go. I'm just trying to. So you see, it'll span the entire space. If I go, this is messing with my stuff. There we go. Just trying to do too many things at the same time. So if you look here, you'll see it starts at 6 and it goes all the way to the end. And that'll be the end no matter what. So if I say 10, it's still the end. The gap is the gap, not anything to do with anything I did. And it'll just keep going. Interesting, actually, how that gap disappears there. Did you see that? I don't know why that is, but watch out for something like that. That can get dangerous. Look at that. Huh. And then 12. And then I guess using the minus has that effect, because it's bringing it around, so to speak. It's interesting. I've never seen that issue before. You learn something new every day. Okay, but let's do this for a second. Let's pretend this is going to be a menu. Menu spans top to bottom. Okay, so let's go here. Grid. 1 to row. Yeah, row. -1. Okay, and then column 1 to -1. Okay, let's see, row, no, we're doing it wrong here. So column 2, 3. There we go. Okay. There's one more thing I want to do. Okay, so then let's say our second one, this we want to be the body. So let's say like main or body or article. Okay, so let's see here. We want to be from column 3 to 10. What did I do? What didn't I do? Oh, I'm looking at column. There we go. There we go. Okay. And then I want it to also be from 0, 1 to 12. -1 to maintain congruent. There we go. So now this is all that. Now what if I want section 3 to be similar to section 1? I want it to take up all that space on that side. Well, this is what you do. You don't do anything different than what you already have. Now it's not showing up because I've saved it, because this is overwriting it. Because what do we remember about CSS? It cascades, it inherits. So when it gets to here, it's correct. But then when it gets to here, I overwrite it with those new terms. See? Oh. No, 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 no. Oops, I made my own boo-boo there. Wow, 2 goofs. There we go. 10, 1, no, 10, and then row from 1. There we go. Now we just need -1. Okay, and then column -1. There we go. That looks too big. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, 11. That looks right. Let's see here. Let's go to 11. There we go. So let's get rid of the gap, and there we go. Now we basically have a block. Almost have a block. What do we got down here anyway? Wow, we got something weird going on. All right. So let's just cruise along here. So let's call this like the aside, or embeds. Like maybe you got like Twitter or something. Twitter, email marketing. Okay. What else we got? We got the footer. Do we have footer? Anything going on with the footer here? Okay, so footer, border, and then there's no footer. Okay. Common header styling. Okay. Footer. Oh, footer. There. So now we have the exact same basic structure. Could do that for the header too if you wanted to create that kind of structure everywhere. Okay, so let's see, what are we going to do here? We're going to go down to, let's go with class, call 1. Let's see here, call 2. And call 3. There we go. Okay. So we want to space these out, right? Just like we did here. I think actually we could do it the same. So we could go like this and go call 1. And of course we have to have properly tagged like that. Could do that. Let's see. Oops, missed a comma. There we go. The dangers, right there. I'm getting another comma. 3. There we go. Neat, right? Let's see what we got here. That one, that one, that one. Yeah, that's not going to work for us, is it? We don't want to do that. You know, you want to try to do as much simplifying as you can, whenever you can. Honestly, you know, if you can do 1FR. Actually, I should show you that now. Okay, let's pretend. Actually, I'm going to undo first. So let's say column 1FR. And then 2FR. And 1FR. Need a. So let's say it's 2, and it's 2. This one is 10. What a mess up that is, eh? Oh! This is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm coming up with mistakes. Look at this. So row column. There we go. 1FR. 2FR, 1FR. There we go. So now we say 2, and then we go 10, Holy smokes, you can tell I'm like not always going to guess always going to guess the right thing with my my fractions. Alright, let's just do it the way I originally planned. So one call, one. Okay, and what do we want to do? We want to take, let's see, let's make sure everything is the way it used to be. There we go, yeah. So we want this one. Where do we want it though? Do we want it to be over here, and then this in the middle? Or do we want it to be a little bit more controlled, like a little bit more design friendly? So let's take the column first, and let's say column for 1, we want it to be maybe 3 and 4. There we go. That looks pretty good, eh? So let's get down here. 2, 3, and let's go 5, 7, 8, 9. Okay, that's the beginning, right? Let's get the grid back. Let's see, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. So I want it to kind of, it's going to go here, right? Because that's 5, 6, 7. I need to go 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I need this one to start at 9 and go to 10. 9 to 10, right? Let's see here. 6 to 8. Let's see. Is that where I want everything to be? It's almost thirds, except just the way it's aligned a little bit differently. That's what I want right there. Okay, so one more. 10, 11. There we go. So now let's look at that. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty right there. So you can do it like this, or you can do it like this. But one of the things you should know, and this is kind of important, is I'm going to create a new file, a new style, just to test for you. Let's call it contact.css. I don't know why I just did that, but let's just do that. And then go to contact, and let's make a CSS file. Link, CSS, contact, CSS, CSS. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So what I want to do on my contact CSS file, I'm going to go here, contact.html. Okay, so there's nothing here. But what I want to do is I want to have like a nav. Let's say I'm going to have a nav. No, so it's a nav with a UL, and then an LI, and then like 3, 4, 5. Let's say like 5 LIs, and each LI is like row, column. There we go. Okay, so it's like home, about, portfolio, services, contact. Okay, so we're good now. Let's say class, main nav. Okay, so now we have like, let's say that's like going to be the column on that side, and then I want like main, and then h1, hello world, and then a footer. Okay, footer is headed to welcome to my footer. Okay, very sophisticated. Let's get the contact over here so we can see it. I definitely have to get this made smaller one of these days. Okay, so the reason why, what I want to do is I want to make this take up the whole left side. So I'm going to go body HTML, body, margin 10 pixels, padding 0, box sizing, border box. I believe I went through that one. Why is there? Font family. There we go. And then font size 16 pixels. Okay, everything's looking pretty good. Oh, one last thing. Just gonna go body. It sounds replicable. I just do it just to give some physical space from everything I did up there. I don't want you to just get cluttered. So display, grid, and then let's see here. So then I want to go grid, template, repeat, 12, 1 FR. Like now, if I did it the way I want, yeah. What am I doing? That's weird. I wonder, okay. I'm just gonna, I used to use shorthand and I don't know what I've done differently this time, or it's probably just something I forgot. Okay, so now I have it the way I want, right? Let's see, there's our grid, right? Let's see, like BH. That's fine. It's really not going to make any difference. I'm just meddling with something just for the sake of meddling at this point. Okay. I'm going to move this a little bit off so we don't see as much things we don't need to see. Okay. So now we've got our grid set up. Okay. So what I want to do is I want my main nav to span all those areas. And if you'll recall, I'm going to actually bring it over just so you can see it. You'll recall, this is how I do it. So I'm going to span, what am I going to span? I'm going to go grid, span, row. And I'm going to take this one from 1 to 12. Okay, background, color, light, gray. There we go. Okay. Now I could do a few things to pretty that up, but I'm going to wait on that for a minute. Okay, so now I have main, and I want my main to take up grid, column, 2 to 12. Okay, and I want my grid row to take up 1 to 10. Okay, and I want footer. Okay, before I get any further, I got a little bit of house cleaning to do here. So, first off, this is not going to fill up the space because I didn't do the -1. So, this is row, -1. There we go. Now, I got another problem. If I go height, I want this to fill up the space no matter what. This is viewport height. It means it doesn't matter what the device is, it wants to fill up the 100% of it. It's different than percent. I actually recommend that you take a look at compare rem VH viewport measurements. I believe that's the best. There we go. This is the kind of article you want to read. This is highly in depth and going to go into it with a bunch of references. There's so much great stuff out there. You know, CS Tricks is one of my favorite places for a lot of stuff. And there's 173 results about this. Needless to say, there's lots to know on the topic. So, the other thing that I have is the reason why it's gone a little bit beyond the bottom there, if I scroll, see, is because of the margin. No matter what, it wants to fill 100%. There we go. I gotta do that. There we go. Fixed. Yeah, there's nothing left now. Okay, so let's go main, background, color, light yellow. There we go. And then this one is going to be background color, sea gray. There we go. Oh, light sea gray. There we go. It's not filling it out, right? What do we got here? We got this. And that's exactly what we have, right? 10 and 11. That's how you learn if you're making a mistake. So let's see. Did I make that mistake? There we go. And then, of course, I need a column. And it's going to be identical to this one. So, oh, look at this, too. I got it like that. There we go. So row, column. Otherwise, I end up in the same position as last time. So there we go. Do you see how quick that works out? Let's see. The other thing you want to see is how elastic this kind of stuff is. Like, look at that. That's a beautiful thing. So, now we want all of this to have some padding, right? We want the main nav. So what do? We say, okay, well, this is all of our layout stuff. So we go main nav, main, footer, and we say padding 5 pixels. There we go. Look at that. Now we can do a couple options. This is in all directions, so I can go 0 top and bottom, 5 pixels left and right. Let's say 15 pixels so you can see it. Now if I go 15 pixels, they go down. If I say 0, left and right, see the hello? It moved right up against the edge again. Let's say I want it to be only the top and the left side. So I go top, right, bottom, and then top, right, bottom, left side, right. So 15 pixels. That's how you do it when you don't have. Think of it like a compass. Top, right, bottom, left side. That's how I always think of it. I don't know why. Probably I got taught that. So there you go. That is how you create a grid layout. The cool thing about a grid layout, by the way, another cool thing is it can overlap. Yeah, so if you look here, look at this welcome to my footer, okay? Welcome to my footer, and then look at that. It just overlapped. How about that, eh? And it's elastic. It stays a certain relative size, so that cosmetic look will remain the same, no matter what. This is something you can't do. It is impossible to do this in Flexbox. Like, actually impossible. It's not built into the specification at all. So, yeah, this is one of the main reasons why Grid is so popular. Okay?